The death of Jesus was supposed to be the end. Political leaders, religious leaders, the crowd from the highest to the lowest in society had combined to make sure this Jesus stuff stopped before it got out of hand. Jesus simply threatens way too much. And so they killed him. And they put his lifeless body in a tomb, and as Pontius Pilate, the governor of Jerusalem at the time, said, they made that tomb as secure as they knew how. Which brings me to the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 28, which begins this way. After the Sabbath, at dawn of the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to look at the tomb. There was a violent earthquake, for an angel of the Lord came down from heaven and going to the tomb, rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning and his clothes were white as snow. The guards were so afraid of him that they shook and became like dead men. The angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen, just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, he has risen from the dead and is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him. Now I have told you." So the women hurried away from the tomb, afraid yet filled with joy, and ran to tell the disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them. "Greetings," he said. They came to him, clasped his feet, and worshipped him. Then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me." What we see in these verses is that all of Pilate's "make this tomb as secure as you know how" is undone in a moment. We see that the violence, that the sin, that the false power of this world, the tomb, no matter how securely guarded it is, cannot hold, cannot contain the power and the glory of the work that God is doing. Jesus is raised from the dead, and nothing remains unchanged. Look at verse 2. The stone that was in front of the tomb, meant to keep it secure and closed in, it's rolled away and it becomes a seat, a chair for the angel. The Roman guard who were there to exercise the full power of the empire, they are so filled with fear that they faint. And look at verse 7. The two women who had come that morning to look at the tomb, to grieve their friend, to grieve their Lord, to mourn the death of maybe the only man who had ever looked them in the eye and taken them seriously. Those women become the first heralds, the first announcers of the resurrection of Jesus. Jesus is alive, and that changes everything. And it doesn't just end there, it continues on. That new life that began at the resurrection of Jesus, it spills out to even today, to me and to you. And it will continue on until Jesus returns, and as Revelation 21 says, he will make all things new. All things will be transformed. So happy Easter. He is risen. And that means that the only thing that's left in that tomb is our sins, which remain buried from the sight of God both now and forever. He is risen indeed.